All right. Welcome back to another episode of Two Plain Sports. This time it's basketball edition. We finally gotten to that point in the year. Football is almost wrapped up. All we got is a bowl game left, and now it's time for Oklahoma basketball. Um, you know, some notable things for this year: first time head coach for Oklahoma, Porter Moser, or first year head coach is better said. Um, Finally getting to coach at a big program coming from Loyola. He had a lot of guys transfer over, and he's had some good commits so far. But this season is off to a hot start. Before we get any further into the basketball team, make sure you're liking, subscribing, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about OU basketball. It seems like it could be a really exciting year. I know whenever we were covering it when we first started this podcast early in 2021, basketball was kind of wrapping up, and we all expected when Porter came in, we might not make the tournament, but it seems like we were very, very wrong at that time. And this basketball team is going somewhere potentially. Brandon, you want to start off with yours?
Yeah, no, it's obviously a crazy time right now to be a fan of OU athletics, with everything that's happening with Lincoln Riley and the football team situation, and obviously Venables coming to town. But the basketball team is worthy of paying attention to, and I think Porter Moser doing a pretty good job of putting people in the seats. You know what you when you see the games on TV or highlights or whatever, it at least for an early season basketball, because at the end of the day, we are only 8 games in. The student section, for one, is filling up. You're getting football. You're getting Caleb Williams and Danny Stutzman to run around the court, having a good time at basketball games. And above all, as long as he keeps winning as he has been so far, and the team is doing pretty well. 7-1 start to the season. I think you're going to keep seeing, you're going to keep seeing those seats filled. I, for one, am going to the game against Butler, to get a little taste of that Big 12 Big East matchup. Could be a fun game between us, and I think Butler's 5-3, so they're not a bad team or anything. But yeah, so far, real good start to the season. The only loss coming in the Myrtle Beach Invitational Final, to Utah State, in a game really that the Sooners could have won. We're kind of late in that game. A couple missed shots, turnovers were kind of the difference.
Yeah, no, you said it perfectly. This team it's doing really well. Only one loss, like you said, but the great thing about this basketball team is very much a team. Like they're approaching the game as a team, and it's not one star, and the rest are just role players. And that's something that could easily be done in basketball. We see it all the time in the NBA. You have one guy that'll lead in scoring, and you got a couple other guys that will just do things here and there. But really, all these guys are approaching this game like a team, and they're going to win as a team. The biggest, or I guess our point leader right now is Tanner Groves at 15 and a half. He also leads in rebounding at 6.5 or 6.4, but Jalen Hill's right tied with him at 6.4. Goldwire, great defensive player, 4.2 assists is the leader in that. And then something really notable, and I think it's because Porter Moser's mindset and how he's approaching his coaching of this team, is we have 4 guys that are averaging over assist a game, or not an assist, sorry, 1 steal a game, and it could be 5 here soon, with CJ Noland. Right now he's at 0.9, but we've got Jalen Hill at 1.3, Goldwire at 1.4, Harkless at 1.4, and Umoja Gibson at 1.5 leading the pack. So this team is very much defensive minded, it seems like, and they will just put on the points when they have the opportunity to.
No, and that's exactly what Porter Moser was saying at his introduction. When he's welcoming to Norman, that's kind of the approach that he takes to the game. Where you're going to win on defense and you're going to kind of play the game right. And it's obviously working right now. It worked at Loyola. There's no reason to believe that it's not going to continue to work at Oklahoma. I'm not out here predicting national championship this year, but I mean, he's building something there, and there's no doubt about it, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Tanner Groves, you really can't talk enough about the impact he's had since transferring. As you mentioned, team's leading scorer, leading rebounder, but he's big, man. He's like 6'10", 6'11", but he's still he's a knockdown 3-point shooter. Still, obviously a great rebounder of the basketball. Moves well for his size. As I mentioned, can't say enough about um, landing that transfer. Is I know his brother Jacob Groves on the team too. He's done a couple nice things for us. He's not obviously Tanner Groves, but yeah, Tanner Groves has been huge.
Yeah, it is a great start to the season. Like you said, the upcoming game that you'll be attending is Butler. And then at the end of the week on Saturday, the team will be traveling to Tulsa to face Arkansas. They just came off of a win against an SEC school in Florida. It was a big win, first ranked win, I believe, of the season,
Yeah.
where Florida was ranked 14 at the time, and the Sooners won by 7. It
And that's
really
a game that I think you're about to allude to it. And I apologize for interrupting you, but
go for it.
it's a game that uh, we kind of let them back in. Late in that second half, OU went on a huge run. Took like an 11 or 12 point lead with under 5 to go or under 4 to go, and you kind of let them crawl back in. But it ultimately ended up winning by 7, which you take the win, wins the win. And then Porter Moser running over the student section. Really, really cool stuff to see. Porter Moser's that guy. Yeah, and obviously that's their first win on the schedule. Come March, that gets looked back on. There's a ranked win in December. Got it done. There's a ranked win, and then if you beat Arkansas, I think Arkansas is coming to number 12 this year. Obviously, they're a team that had a hell of a run last year. I can't remember if it was Elite Eight or Final Four, but they went deep into the tournament. I think they eliminated Oral Roberts, who we were all pulling for at the time because that was just crazy Cinderella story. But Arkansas is a good team. Had a really good year last year. Obviously, they're still playing well this year. It'll be fun to see, and hopefully Porter Moser can give it to those guys too.
Yeah, they've got a really big upcoming schedule over the next week. Something that we mentioned, I know a lot of you were not around whenever we first started this podcast, but something that we discussed a lot when Porter first came on, and we were, the team was starting to build and get transfers, and he was building a staff, is really how he did in this 3-game stretch against Florida, Butler, and Arkansas is going to set a tone for how we move into conference play. I don't know what you think, Brandon, but I believe that the Big 12 is the best basketball conference in the country,
Yeah.
and just all around. We've got Texas, we've got Baylor.
Baylor's number 2 in the country right now.
They're
Yeah, I mean,
really good. Those are the 2 of the top basketball schools, and then you've got Kansas, who's always in play, and they always have top recruits. So if we can come in with a lot of momentum in conference play, this team, like we said when we first started this video, has the opportunity to make a run and get an opportunity to the tournament, and hopefully make a run, because Porter puts teams in position to upset higher seeded teams.
No, absolutely. I expect us to win the game against Butler on Tuesday. I think it'll be close because I don't think Butler's a bad team by any means, but I 100% expect Oklahoma to win that game. Arkansas I see is more of a toss-up. Definitely a winnable game, not by any means saying that we don't belong on the floor with them. I see that Arkansas game is without a doubt being the toughest test of the season so far, and one that I'm pretty excited to watch.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week. Sooners are, right now, I mean, people don't really look at or Oklahoma college basketball. They just focus on Duke, Kentucky, the Blue Bloods in college basketball. But I think this team has an opportunity to be making some noise at the end of the season, and hopefully people start recognizing halfway through January.
I mean, it's obviously very early on, but it's hard to not be encouraged with a very promising fast start. Hopefully we get people to pack the stadium against Butler. Not only will it be a good basketball game, but odds are you'll see new football head coach Brent Venables at halftime. Potentially like a little interview thing, not interview, a little addressing the crowd moment, such as LSU did with Brian Kelly. And hopefully Brent Venables won't have a fake accent when he does his.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully we see him there. Porter was there for Brent's introduction today on the 6th. And I think, the coaching staffs that have been put together by Joe Castiglione kind of want to have that family, not just family amongst their own team and their own program, but family amongst all of OU athletics. And I think it's something that could very much happen. I don't know. No one knows what Brent's schedule looks like because he's got a lot of recruiting to do. But hopefully it happens and he gets to talk to the crowd and hype everyone up, not just for OU basketball, but for the upcoming football season and the upcoming bowl game. Do you have anything you want to add about the basketball team before we wrap it up today? I know it was a shorter video.
Yeah, no, just kind of definitely keep an eye on them. And especially as football season's winding down. They're they're a pretty good team. And as we mentioned, they could do something. They're definitely worth watching if you haven't yet.
Yeah, tune in to Butler. We'll post this on Tuesday, so tune into Butler tonight. They're at the LNC. It will be on ESPN2, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Central Time start, I believe. So make sure to check to if
It's
you're
a
not
double header tomorrow too at the LNC. So I mean, if you're in town and you're not doing anything, you can check the women's team out at 5:30, and then the men's play at 8 in that big game against Butler.
Yeah, go support the teams. Both teams are really good. They've got opportunities to make runs in the tournament. Depending on how they start, but these guys are putting in the work, and we got to go support them. If you've made it this far, you're awesome. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it as always. Like Brandon said, with football season winding down, we'll start focusing more on basketball and get you updates on how games went, upcoming games, how the team is looking, and hopefully we have nothing but good news about when it comes to February and March and the position that the Sooners could be in to make the NCAA tournament. Make sure that you follow us on all social media, like, comment, subscribe on this video, and go check out our Spotify. Go subscribe to Spotify. We're starting to stream there. As we started adding on platforms, I'll let you know, but everything will be linked down below in the description. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you next time.